Righto, good day, everybody. So here we are on episode one or take one, whatever of. We don't know what we're going to call it yet. Um, but I'm Wayno. I'm on Darwin. I'm a free man. I've joined Terra Australis State Nationals, and I've reconveyed. That makes me a free man. And we're going to try and chat about maybe that and a lot of other stuff. So if the rest of the panel, starting with you, Sue, you're up there on my left. If you'd just like to give us a quick intro, who you are and what you're all about. And so away you go. You're up.
Thanks, Wayne. Yep, I'm Sue from Victoria, born here, good 6 decades ago. Lived a pretty average life, done nothing too spectacular, other than always been questioning. Grew up, my favourite word's always been why, and that's probably the only thing that may set me apart from some other people who just go along to get along. I've always wanted to know why for everything. So here I find myself again looking at the key to self-governance, like how to be responsible for myself, and I don't really want to depend on anyone else to live my life for me. I want it to belong to me. So that's me.
Good on you. So we need plenty of why people. We need the questions to be asked so the answers come out. So Ray, the screen I'm looking at, you're sitting on my right up the top, so you might have a little chat about yourself and your aspirations and who you are.
Sure, I'm Ray. I'm born and bred on Western Australis. My parents are from Egypt. And since I was a little kid, I knew that something was wrong with the planet. But of course, a small boy who's in a sheltered home, traditional conservative parenting, Irish Catholic school in primary school and high school, sheltered and conservative. I grew up thinking the whole world was Catholic, the whole world believed in God, and the whole world was nice. And they do to others as they want being done to you. How wrong I was. As time went on, I started to realize the history books are lying. The television news is lying. The textbooks are lying. My peers are lying. This is not what's happening in terms of history, politics, religion, science, medicine, whatever. So as I got older, I started researching things. University was very, very interesting. I still remember the day that the woman who sold me the books for my studies and all of that, I went to a party and saw her absolutely plastered. And that shocked me. People get drunk, including the woman who sold my books. And I told my mother, and she said, no. You can't be at the university. They're all elites and all of that. You're making the story up. But anyway, then I realized that what the lecturers are telling me doesn't make sense. And I'm expected to teach this stuff as a teacher. So bit by bit, went on a very, very long journey. I had a dream and it was fulfilled. The answers all satisfied me until 2012, when I unlocked one thing that I call the missing link, and that is the birth certificate fraud. And I said, that's something I don't know. So I added it to my journey. And as Sue said before, the self-governance, it's time for me to govern myself. I yield.
Very good. Very interesting. It's hard to believe, isn't it? That world that false world that you lived in and then the rest of it all got revealed to you. You can actually live in that new world and be comfortable. I mean, relatively comfortable, understanding all that stuff. Yeah. Sarah, you've always got plenty to say. Tell us about yourself.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm really shy, retiring. Take me a long time to speak up. No.
Is that you, Sarah?
Well, I guess like the rest of us, I think I've lived a pretty normal life. I've traveled around Australia working in a lot of different places. I've always been a little bit anti-authoritarian, like anti whoever was in charge. I pushed back at school, I pushed back in employers, moved around, kind of looked at a lot of things that didn't seem right. And then I suppose, there's just a whole lot of things along the way. I didn't really add any of it up until the scamdemic. And then I kind of went, okay, this is just all wrong. And that's when I really started to deep dive. And, I knew that politicians around the world were not great, but I didn't know how not great they were. And then, add doctors to the list and a lot of the medical establishment, add lawyers. And then obviously, I did the whole thing, found out about the fraud, the birth certificate fraud, as you mentioned, Ray. And I I'm very eclectic in what I look at. It's not just, we're all TASA people. I'm not just like involved with TASA. I look at a lot of stuff, the hidden histories of the mud floods and all that kind of thing. I've got a very, I'm like a magpie. I pick up lots and little bits all over the place. And you're right, Ray. We've basically everything that we've been told is a lie. So, I think the more we kind of know, the more we know that we don't know. And I just think, yeah, we need to start talking about this stuff and kind of make it a bit normal rather than people's normal being what's on the ABC or Sky News. Anyway, hopefully along the way here, we'll demystify some stuff for other people as well. And that's me.
Good on you. We might even learn some stuff ourselves on the way through, and that'd be even great. Alan, I've only known you for a short while, but you've impressed me with what you do. So,
please, mate, you must be easily impressed. That's all I can say. Yeah, mate, I'm Alan on Serena. So I don't know, compared to the rest of you guys, probably haven't been awake as long. Probably only been awake for about 4 or 5 years, or since the whole COVID thing. It opened my eyes to what was going on in the world, and in a big way. So I started following a lot of different political groups or freedom fighter type groups and following different things. And then I realized that they're all just backing the wings of the same bird and just trying to fix everything the same way, and nothing ever changed. And I was looking for something, and then stumbled across, Mookie stumbled across me when he did his big tour. And then everything just fell into place, Mookie being TASA, for those who don't know. So everything just seemed to fall into place for me. And so I just wanted to give it everything. So I took on the coordinator role and then other activities as well. But my goal is to try and awaken people, obviously, but I've realised that that's not really my job. My job is to just try and get the information out there, and people will awaken at their own time frame. So try and get bigger assemblies so we can make change. That's my goal. I yield.
Very good. Yeah, you're right about trying to awaken people. I think we've all gone down that road. If somebody doesn't want to be awakened, you're just using up all your own good energy trying to make something happen that won't happen. It's got to be organic. They've got to wake up themselves. And we sort of know that now, and it's a little bit like the oxygen on the plane, isn't it? You've got to look after yourself first, which is kind of selfish to some people. But if you don't put the oxygen mask on when you realise something's gone wrong, well, then you're no good to anybody else, eh? And that's what we've all done. We've put the oxygen mask on and we've got through the difficult bit and we've learned a bit of stuff. And now, well, hopefully we can educate a few people, or maybe not so much educate as get people to question things a bit more.
Yeah. Like Trevor's, for those that don't know, Trevor's a guy on Northern Territory. And he said it's knowledge transfer. That way, if people pick it up, great. If they don't, you've done your part. It's not necessarily education, it's knowledge transfer, which is a nice way of putting it.
It is. It is. And it takes all the pain out of it. We're not, it's not our job to educate other people. But if they come along and ask questions, well, that's a different thing. We're halfway there.
It's I still remember exactly where I was when someone explained to me about how vaccines, all of them, when they're all designed to kill you. And I still remember where I was and thinking, where were you when I had my kids why didn't you tell me this when I had my kids and my kids were little? How come it's taken me to be like, my kids are 33, 32 now, and I just remember thinking, and this was my cousin that was explaining it to me, and I thought, where the hell were you, mate? Why didn't you tell me? But obviously, I wasn't ready to hear it, and I would have just called him an idiot at the time, So it's one of those things. But yeah, when we're ready to hear, when our ears are open to it, we'll hear it.
Yeah. That's so true. That is just so true that people cannot hear it until they're ready to hear it.
Yeah.
You can be speaking to a room full of people and they all should be hearing the exact same message, but some people will pick it up and some people just won't. They're not ready to hear it. It's like it was never spoken. So the filter is their own mind with whatever the information is out there. And so probably what we're trying to do is encourage people to open their minds so they're allowing new information in, because you can't fix the problems we've got with the same thinking that got us here. So we have to start a new way of thinking. Yeah.
It reminds me of people who don't want to listen. Literally 20 years later, when I see them, they go, now I know what you meant in 1997 or 1998 or 1992. And it happens. It's when you're ready. Good.
Yeah. And Ray, you mentioned the birth certificate fraud there before, well, why didn't we know about that? That was because nobody knew. Our parents or grandparents couldn't pass it down to us because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And every day when I wake up, I consider myself fortunate, but I now know. I mean, my life's different because of that, and different in a better way, I think. Not that I'm maybe not any richer or any healthier, but I'm certainly better mentally than what I would have been not knowing. And the people that are behind this have gotten away with it for so long because it's just been kept secret. There was no way to know. There was no way for people to pass it on to us. So, it's almost a perfect crime, almost.
And what makes it really a spin out, and some people don't believe me, but anyway, like both of my grandfathers, paternal and maternal, went to their graves without a birth certificate. They did not have one. They did not have a passport, yet they traveled. Now, of course, you'll see why as we go along in the series, because they came from, even though they were Christian, they came from an Islamic civilization that works very differently. It was diverse and everything, but you didn't need all this paperwork. You just go over the border and that was it. So when I used to ask my mum and dad, when was granddad born? They would get annoyed with my brother and I because I was going, they didn't have birth certificates. I go, what do you mean they didn't have birth certificates? And, this was as a teenager in the 80s. Then I deduced that, okay, one died in 1938, one died in 1948. I worked out their ages and then I could see, okay, they're born around 1883. Now, this is my grandparents, not my parents.
Yeah.
I've got a first cousin that's 82. I'm the baby,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I yield.
And I think too, it's there's a lot of stuff that's there. We just don't. It's like, you pick up a piece of a puzzle and you don't know what it is. You don't see it. You don't kind of know how it fits in. But I've read a lot of historical books. I mean, I read a lot. And a lot of historical books, and they're people, dramas or mysteries or whatever. And there's people, and these are set in the 1800s or the 1700s, and these people are taking the grand tour of Europe, or they're traveling here or they're traveling there. There's never any mention of passports. There's never any mention of having to buy like permits to get into a place. They just hop on a boat and go. There's nothing there. And I've known that for a long, long time, but I've never kind of put it together and gone, I wonder why. Like I just didn't. But when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It's sort of, I had that piece of the puzzle anyway. I already knew that, but hadn't put it into context for today, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of us are like that. We hold little pieces of information. We just don't know where it fits because we don't know even sometimes that there's a puzzle to fit it into. So anyway, I yield.
And the other thing you were talking about the age of your grandparents. So we're going back a fair way in time, and I go back a fair way in time myself, actually. And I can tell you the world has changed. And over the last probably 20 years in particular, you can see the noose, you can feel the noose tightening. There's more and more rules, more and more regulations, more and more stuff to stop you being free. And if you don't know about it, you just roll with it and you just go with it. But because I know, like growing up in the, I was a teenager in the 60s, and we were free, eh? We were free. And, by the time I got a licence and was driving Dad's car around the local village, or wasn't a village, just a small town where I grew up, if you did something wrong, the local copper would get you. And if you were doing something really wrong, he might even touch it up a bit, just a little bit. But that wasn't so bad. What the worst threat was that he would tell your parents, and they would crack down on you. No more car, Wayno. No more going out. No more going to town, Wayno. And that was how it happened way back then. But it's all different now. It's kind of like there's no rules for the young and informed if they know, if they learn what school teaches them, that they've got all these rights that are really, nothing. It just teaches them to be delinquent and non-responsible. And it was just totally different. So I can see a stark difference because of my age. But so yeah, it's come on us more and more recently. They've tightened the noose, I reckon.
That's why in my research journey, I looked at how do these dots connect, and that was the purpose of me doing up all these documents and videos and seeing an alternative way of linking them.
Yeah.
Well, there must be a way to get them out there for people that need to see them, Ray. So
I'm just going to very quickly go through the dots. They won't make sense.
Ray, do you mind? What we might do to start with, though, before we do that, is just give everyone a bit of an overview about why we're doing this and what the intention of this meeting and stuff is.
Sure.
Just to sort of, because we've kind of gone off track, which is fine because this is supposed to be casual and informative.
That's going to happen all the time. Just get used to it.
Get used to it, audience, because this is what's going to be like.
That's right. We could wander anywhere.
However, Wayne, do you want to run it, or do you want me to?
No, you give us an overview, Sarah, of what the reason we're here, and go for it.
So first of all, we kind of thought a lot of people are asking a lot of questions in TASA. We've got a massively wide range of people, from people who've just started the journey to people who've been in it for, 4 or 5 years, to people who've known about what's going on for probably the last 2 decades or more. So we wanted to have a place where people could come in. Ultimately, this is going to be delivered as a live show, or live, whatever you want to call it, each week, with an audience or a viewership, if you like, and they can put comments, in the chat if they've got questions about the topic that we might happen to be discussing. We will also have an email which will be seagull4451@outlook.com to start with if there's something you want to know or something you want to comment on. But we may put a show-specific email together. And we will have this able to be replayed somewhere in the TASA welcome chat, I would suggest, and certainly replays will be available on Wayne's Pepperfile YouTube channel and maybe some other places. So an overview of what this is supposed to be is we want it to be weekly or at least regular. We want it to be informative and fun. And it's not all TASA all the time. We're going to have other people on or people from TASA, but talking about other things. So we'll cover things like electro gardening. We might cover, lots of other stuff. What it's like to be a state national in one of Her Majesty's hotels. Because we've had a few people experience that, and it would be really interesting to get their take on it because it's not what you think. We'll talk certainly about current world events. We might talk about things that are specific to TASA. So we'll touch on assembly structure. We'll talk about jurisdictions. We might talk about what we want, as Australia or the country we've grown up in. We might want to see what visions we can create for Terra Australis, as the land is now known for state nationals. It's really just, as we've all said here, it's to crack people's minds open and to give them different ways of thinking about things. We are thinking that we will have a word of the week because there's a lot of language that comes in when you sort of start your journey in whichever particular group you're in. There's a lot of words that come in that you're like, what is that? We will be discussing documents, TASA-specific documents for the first however many shows to get through the 928 documents. We'll do one each week. We might get to have a joke of the day if someone can come up with a good one. And we also thought we might do a quick one-line explanation of each of Anna's documents that she's done in the previous week. So that's pretty much what we're going to run with. We'll try and keep it to an hour. We're not going to keep it too much longer than that because a lot of people have got other stuff, and we're going to have rotating hosts and guests. Okay, so it might not, like if Wayne and I both can't do it one week, we'll have other people on who can. So it will be a regular thing. No idea what we're going to call it. Any suggestions, please send them in, seagull4451@outlook.com. No prize, just fame and fortune later on when this is all written up in the history books. You'll be the person that named this show.
That's right. You'll get a mention.
That's right. So that's pretty much what we're aiming to do. Like I said, not TASA specific. Anyone from any of the freedom groups can come in. There's a lot of things that people want to talk about. So yeah, that's it. Here we are, ready to go.
Okay, and I would encourage people, once you start to get a look at what we're doing, if you've got a subject that you want us to discuss, well, let us know. Like, cut us loose, see what we can come up with.
100%.
So that'd be great. Ray, regarding your paperwork, we might leave that for another call because this one, our initial call, and I think we will do a word of the day and a document today.
Sure.
Do we want to do that?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to start with? The word of the day?
Word of the day.
The word of the day today is peonage. Now that's not a word. That's not a word that we use every day.
No. Comes up a lot in TASA documents.
It comes up a lot in Judge Anna's documents. And if you don't know who Judge Anna is, well, email us and ask us the question and we'll cut loose on that, let you know about that. But peonage. So who wants to start with their version of peonage?
Sue, you're good at this.
Sue saw that coming, I think.
Sue's the brains trust, everyone.
That's just so unfair, Sarah.
It's not. It was a compliment.
That's right. It's a compliment. You should look at it as such.
Yeah, but a heads up on the word is a good idea so that I can go and look it up and remind myself what these words mean. Because peonage is actually one I have not studied well. I know it relates to being a slave somewhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but I really don't have an exact definition unless I go and look it up either.
Anyone else
Okay.
want to have a stab at it?
Yeah, look, I'm going to cheat. I did.
Of course you are.
Of course I am, because that's what I do. I did mention before the show, and it's not public yet, but I've got a web page and I did an eBook, and it hadn't actually been released, but in that eBook is a little bit about peonage. So if you don't, I'll just quickly, I'm going to go through this quickly, but if I can get it up on the screen, I'll try that right now. Okay, we can all see that.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I can hardly hear you now. I don't know why that is. So this is my little ebook, see, by Wayne Pepper.
Just to prove it.
It's a blatant self-advertisement, this I know, but
Absolutely.
but I didn't decide on the word, right? You can get this ebook yourself and have a look at it. It's not hard to get. I'd like it down to this. So I've got a few words here. We've got barratry, personage, trafficking, and peonage. So peonage, modern peonage refers to the hidden system of debt-based servitude imposed on individuals through bureaucratic and financial structures. This system begins with the registration of a live birth, what we call the birth certificate fraud. The real living being, the man or woman, becomes the surety for the debts and obligations of the state. And if you did have the ebook, I don't know whether that link will work. You can go to a little video. We're not going to do that. Right.
So
There you go.
See, that's almost exactly the definition I would have given for usufruct.
Really?
Because, yeah, so that fits in perfectly with their system of pledging you at birth as surety for the debts that the government's debt, that it runs up in your name. And that's why they use the birth certificate to pledge you in usufruct, peonage, as surety for that debt.
I actually have usufruct in there as well. If I'd have known you were so well informed, so I would have got you to help me write the book. I should have.
They're actually similar, but not quite the same. Usufruct deviates in the sense that you're using something, but it's you've got rights to it and privileges, but you don't own it type
You
thing.
don't own it.
That's how I understand it.
That's right. Well, they both really refer to a form of slavery. Well, they both refer to the same thing, yeah. So there you go. Anybody got anything to add on peonage?
Well, I've got a comment with the usufruct. There's usually has to be some sort of agreement from the person, man or woman, to consent to that. Is that the same with peonage? Like, is there a differentiation between the two words as far as consent goes?
No. Well, the consent in both cases is alleged. Like when the mother registers the birth of the child, they allege that she's given consent for the state to look after and own the child and everything the child produces. So that's their form of consent.
And yet, because of that birth certificate, in each interaction that a government department has with you, they have to get you to agree in each interaction. Hence why the policeman pulls you up and says, I want to see your driver's license. And then the first thing they do is go, is this you? So they need to get you to agree that that is you and give them access to all the benefits of the trust for themselves.
Yes.
So again, there always is an element of consent. We don't see it coming.
And most people don't know that they've given consent. As soon as you show your license, which is derived from your birth certificate, that you've identified yourself as the person on the birth certificate. So it's once you show them your license, that's consent for them. They don't care. It's trickery, but they don't care.
Yeah. Sometimes I look at it backwards, like they're not trying to get me to identify myself. They're trying to get me to identify that they've got the correct financial instrument by way of that birth certificate for them to access.
That's right. They're forcing you to do business as your straw man, which is derived. We're getting a bit in front of ourselves here, probably, for people that don't know, but yeah, the straw man's derived from the birth certificate fraud, and you spend your whole life doing business as your straw man. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, mate, both of them, usufruct and peonage, I suppose they're both involuntary type things. Once you become aware, though, with usufruct, they have to contract you. I suppose it's just the way you look at it, but with peonage, it's an act that they enforce, like when they commit that act, forcing you to enter into usufruct. If you do it, involuntary or even voluntary, then it's peonage. But it's so close, isn't it? But
I think so. What you're saying is, Alan, is that peonage is what's committed on you, and you are in usufruct when you act under peonage.
So that's how I see
it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Pretty close, I think.
Yeah,
That's a very good description.
Yeah. Cool. So everyone, peonage, you don't want it. You don't want to be anywhere near it.
No, you do not want it. It's a form of slavery, whichever way you look at it, and you do not want to be there. And you don't even know you're there, actually. Yeah. But anyway, you heard it here first. You're a slave. So.
Have a nice week. You're a slave. Okay. Now, the other one, we've got the document of the week. This is for TASA people. And Sue, I am going to call on you again because you are the brains behind this, but acknowledgement, acceptance, and deed of reconveyance.
Again, I wish I had the documents in front of me because it's very hard when you're up the bush.
We can leave it till next week if you want.
Yeah.
We can push that till next week.
It's a good idea, but however, what I do want to alert people every time we talk about any one of these documents is that they know that on the website where all these documents are, for each document, there is a clear explanation of what that document is saying and what it is achieving by doing it. So, I mean, your acknowledgement, acceptance, and deed of reconveyance is you stating that you are in full knowledge that you are living and that anything that is forced upon you in any unconscious contracts that you've ever set up, you're severing those ties now with knowledge. So that's a very brief description of it. But again, I want everyone to know that each document can be looked up on the website where you're able to download them from for an in-depth description of what they do and what they achieve. Yeah. Are you?
Might I suggest that if we're going to do this every week, we could spend 5 minutes going through each document, put it up on the screen. We don't, like some of them are 4 pages long, some of them are only a page.
Yeah.
We could put each one up there, quickly speak to it, and it's not something that you would want to take all our time up with. But if we went through them from the beginning, like from the first document to the last, maybe that would be beneficial and give people an idea of the.
We can show them where they are on the website too. So we could bring the website up and go into it that way. Yeah. So, cool. Yeah,
there is a lot of difficulty people have finding the documents they need. And again, with the deed of reconveyance, you are literally saying that I'm taking all those usufruct names that don't represent me as a living, and we are bringing them back into a different jurisdiction on the land. So that's our reconveyance. Reconveyance pertains to someone who was born on this land. A conveyance is if you've come from another, if you were born in another land, on another continent or country, and you would like to live here permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Ray's just been given permission to share there, and if you can see at the top of that document there, it's got the acknowledgement, acceptance, and deed of reconveyance, and the correct description, which I can assure you will not be very different from what Sue just told us.
No, that's true.
It talks about our trade names. They're the names that you see in all capital letters of various different configurations in window face envelopes. Those names are not you, the living man. They are your straw man who's been brought about by the birth certificate fraud. So you bring all those trade names, they're removed from the international jurisdiction of the sea and returned to permanent domicile on the land, which is where we all want to be once we understand. We bring back all the names from any presumption of being lost at sea, which means that they, being the bad guys, can't continue to use them. Now, I might add that they don't always recognise this stuff, but there's power in numbers. When enough people do this, they will have to recognise. As Sue said, it revokes any powers of attorney. And yeah, so those explanations and those documents, maybe we should cover them, put 5 or 7 or 10 minutes aside every week to cover them till we've gone through the whole lot, so that people can get an idea what they're getting themselves into. Yeah.
I think if we can do that too, I think Kim, and this is for TASA people, Kim will snip that part of the video and she'll put them up so people can go, because some people don't want to read or they have trouble with reading or whatever. So if we put the verbal explanations up, some people everyone learns differently. So she's going to cut just that part about the documents and pull it, and she'll put them up so that people can then go and just grab that snip as they need to. So,
yeah. All right.
So that's that.
Can I just jump in and add a bit there, though, on that document? So, yeah, revokes all powers of attorney. Most people think, oh, well, even myself, up until I started doing the documents, is that you grow up thinking powers of attorney are, you get your power of attorney for your mother or your father or your kids or whatever. But what that power of attorney is more than that. It's every time we sign something as a straw man, we're giving that corporation power of attorney over us. Example, when you sign your mortgage documents, the bank has power of attorney, even though it's not written as power of attorney. They've got the power to make decisions on your behalf. And so there's plenty of other situations where corporations do that. When you sign a document, they then have the power to act in your behalf or on your behalf because you're in the straw man. And so that's the power of attorney we're removing. And then we can actually, when we do that document, obviously keep as an exemption our mother or whatever as a power of attorney. So it's not just that normal, well-known power of attorney thing that we're talking about. Oh, you?
It's right.
Go on, Sarah.
I was going to say, it's almost like every single time you sign your name anywhere or have signed your name anywhere, as opposed to autographing, every time you've signed your name, be it for like a General Electric card when you've gone to buy a TV, with banks, as Alan said, to get a mortgage or a loan or even just open an account, almost any time you have signed your name, that is then used by them as a financial instrument, and they will use that as a power of attorney to open businesses and corporations in your name out there in the world. You won't know about it, but that's how they use it. So I yield.
Yeah, you have no idea probably how many powers of attorney you've given away over the course of your life.
I think Anna added up hers one day and it was something like 700, over 700 businesses.
Yeah,
in her net.
even simple documents. It's hidden in there. Nobody reads the small print. Even if you did, if you weren't educated about that stuff and how to understand the wording, you probably still wouldn't pick it up. But there you go. They operate in secret. They have done. We're blowing some of their secrets up now, which is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
a slow process.
it is. All righty. So do we want to just run through what Anna's been talking about in the last couple of days? It'll be quick. One line per document. I did it last night.
Have you got it in front of you?
I absolutely have.
You would have, wouldn't you?
Righto. So I didn't go all the way back because she doesn't date them, and so I just went back to.
Sometimes they come out 3 at a time, or even 4. Right.
So anyway, this is the last. I think I did the last 9 or 10. So, and this doesn't include anything that she might have put out today, which is Friday in America. So she's probably put out some today. This was at last night. I did this. Yep. So, first of all, okay. She wants everyone to remember. Now, Anna has 2 ways of signing off. She'll put out documents that she wants people to just know about. She signs them as Granna, acting in her grandmother role. And she has international notices in which she is speaking as the fiduciary of the United States. Sorry, that was bad. Fiduciary of America.
Yep.
Not the United States of America. So she is the fiduciary, and which is a fiduciary, just as a bonus word, is someone who has care of, who if I'm the fiduciary of a child, it is my job to act in the best interests of that child's well-being. Okay, so a fiduciary is someone who has to act in the best interests overall of something.
And it goes even further that even if acting in the best interests of that child was to your detriment, you still have to act. That's the role of fiduciary. Yeah.
So anyway, I went back to where she wanted to remind everyone as Granna that we all need to remember that we have the power of 33 trillion volts of electricity times 10 billion. Now, the reason she does that is because we've got that whole heart energy and it pushes out that. We've got 33 trillion volts of electricity running through us. This is all scientific. You can go to the Heart Math Institute, find this all out. So she's quite right. We have massive amounts of power. So when we are feeling powerless, we shouldn't. Okay, we should absolutely know that we have way more power than we think. We need to wake up and use it. So there's an element of frustration there. Also, she just wants us to know that Trump was not anointed by Jesus to start a war. I'm not quite sure who said that, but she was very emphatic about it. Right. After that, international notice. Mr. Trump, stop pretending you run America and stop starting wars in our name. One after that, Google and AI are lying about American state nationals. Please just stop doing that. International notice to Big Oil, Big Bank and USA Incorporated. Thanks for nothing. Third world countries are going to champion free energy because oil will be too expensive for everyone. But they've kind of got a head start on that because they're not reliant on oil like the westernized countries. The rest of the ones were from Granna. So, to everyone who tried to kill the world population, do us a favour and off yourself. I'm not even lying. That's what she said. She then said, it's not America at war with Iran, but USA Incorporated acting on behalf of the Brits, which are not the English. Everyone needs to remember. Then beware of evil people pretending to be good and selling the same old crap. So that's basically what she's saying, is that there's going to be a lot of people selling trusts and new trusts and have this and look at that. And she said, just don't do that. Then she had a word about Tavistock. Anyone that doesn't know about Tavistock in England, go and have a look up at Tavistock, the Pirbright Institute and various other places, because they and other institutes have been examining for a long time now about how to control humanity. And that's through false flags, through drugs, through psyops, through every other thing. And then the last one that she did, this is, as I said, at about 9 o'clock last night, she wanted to, she put in an explanation for the gold silver prices currently. There's a bit of maths in it. I'm not even going to go into it. She talked about the 3 days of darkness, and she said that there are new courts that are going to start appearing, and they're called new capital U, capital C, lowercase c -1 courts. And they're actually land courts, I think, and they've got to start hearing people like living souls. So that's the thing. But the 3 days of darkness, she did go into that. Her take on that is that it's not just phones, internet, stuff like that will go down. It actually will literally be dark. And the last time it happened, I think, was in 1816, she said. So anyway, so brief one-liner of the last 9 or 10.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I found that about the darkness. She described that in detail. It's not just dark, it's black.
Yeah. Yeah. Well worth a read.
And anyway, she said, don't be scared. So if it happens for 3 days, don't be scared. Just sit down and pray.
And then I was watching, she said you can sing to yourself, talk to people. Appalachia Homestead, actually, I don't know if anyone else watches Appalachia Homestead. She's just come out too and said that she has had visions, call them what you like, about things kicking off in May. She's been told May. So who knows? I don't know. The people have been talking about this split, this big world split, this big rift thing. And Anna mentioned a couple of weeks ago that the water out of the Mississippi is going down. And it's because of that rift, which we know it's that big New Mexico rift. So the
world she is changing. Yeah, the world is changing.
I'll just jump in very quickly and say that everything Anna said and Sarah's just said, every one of them is contained in religious prophecies. I yield.
There you go.
Well, there you go. We could get into that one day and have a look at that. Probably we won't have time today.
Can I just say that was an excellent summary, Sarah. Thanks very much for that.
Yes.
And if you could do that every week, that would be very much appreciated because it could save me a lot of time.
When I'm reading through them, because I'm gifted, I'm able to speed read, so I can get through a bit of stuff, and I'm reading them, and I'm like, okay, she's saying, I'm very angry, don't do that, just stop. And the one where she said, literally, she said to all the people who've tried to kill us over the last few years, it'd be a great help if you would just voluntarily suicide and get yourselves gone. And I'm like, wow, she's not even holding her punches anymore.
Yeah. So for those of you that might be watching this, if you don't know who Judge Anna is, well, you can look it up, or we can maybe I'll
AnnaVonReitz.com.
Yeah,
AnnaVonReitz.com will get it.
When I put this up on YouTube, I might put it under the video. It's all good, up to date shit you should know. So, and if you don't know, Sarah had a little bit of trouble there. She named the United States when she should have named America, and she corrected herself quite quickly.
Yep.
If you don't know the difference, that's another thing that you should know. And send us an email and I'll give you a 10-minute history lesson on here next week if you want to know why that's important. I could probably do it in 10 minutes. But America is good. United States is bad. Just put it that way. United States is under British control, which is not England. It's British control, the City of London. And we're under US control here in Australia. Sorry to break it to you, but there you go. You heard that here first as well.
Yes. And it's not even that. I was going to say it's even a bit more complicated than that, because although we are under US control, and we absolutely are, strictly speaking, we're still a penal colony under England. Yes. So that's why Australia is such a mashup of American and English law because it's really just the Wild West and no one really knows what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Supreme Court judges don't know what they're doing. They're just making shit up at this stage. Because I don't know how I just don't know how you can mash the two together like they have and make it make sense. So there's a whole lot of reasons. We'll get into the 26th of January one of these days. Not Australia Day, but whatever.
Right.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. But anyway, so that's Anna's document summary for the last couple of days. Next week, we'll do it all again.
We'll do it all again. You'll probably only have 3 or 4 to go through. However many she puts out this week. You just did the last 2 weeks in one hit.
No. You know what Anna's like. She thumps me.
Anyway. A prolific writer.
She is. Very much so.
Very good information. Yeah.
So has anyone else got anything they want to talk about? Because I do have something I want to talk about.
Oh, you frighten me.
Let's hear it. I'm interested.
Okay.
I'm scared.
All right. Let me hit you with it. In TASA, in the TASA world, and for anyone out there not in TASA, you've probably heard murmurings that there is a feeling that we can't do anything until we have an elected assembly. And this is not true. I want everyone to know that this is not true. There is a lot as individuals we can do. First of all, the pet tour, I believe, went off yesterday. Ray was part of that. And I believe that that was very well received by quite a few places around the country. And that was really telling various authorities and officials in those authorities that what's actually going on, covering the birth certificate fraud and stuff like that. A lot more formally than what we've done it here with documents and stuff. So that's the first thing, is educating those in the bureaucracy, really, as to just how bad things really are. Because a lot of them don't know. They're just going there to go and earn money to put food on the table. But quite apart from all of that, I'm going to use a little bit of code here. So you're just going to have to kind of roll with me here.
You understand code, Alan?
There is a person, let's just say north of Sydney, gives a lot of leeway. East of Broome.
Person, you said? Person?
I'm pretty sure it's a person.
Okay.
Might not be, but I'm pretty sure it is. That knows how to make vehicles run on not fuel and would be willing to run courses to teach other people how to get vehicles to run on not fuel, just run on the wet stuff that's readily available. And my way of thinking is, if a community, an assembly, a group of like-minded individuals in any part of this great country would like to come together, nominate or select someone in their community who's willing, because obviously we don't want to press gang people. But if we cozied up to a mechanic or mechanically minded person and said, hey, if we all pitched in whatever it costs for you to go and do this course, and then you could come back and you could help our cars run on not fuel, how amazing would that be? And how amazing, like if we could get into farming communities and help them run vehicles on not fuel, that would be great. And that's money, or fiat even, back in our pockets that helps us buy other things like, oh, I don't know, strawberries, milk, bread. But that's something that we could organise pretty fast. And this guy would be happy to run courses on it. Plus, it gets the information out there, and it means that for any of us that want to travel in future, there's people all over the country that might be able to assist if something went a bit screwy with our car. So that's a thing. That's a thing we can do. I'm sure there are other things that we can do, but that would be one that would really help not just TASA, but the whole of the community. the whole of the freedom community particularly. And I just think there must be other things out there that we could do, the whole of the freedom community. And this is the thing, I really think that we need to start to, given that the whole aim of not the elites, the scum, the people that have tried to control us, their whole aim is to get us divided and conquered. Okay. And the freedom community in this country is pretty much divided, not conquered, but divided. And I really think it's time we started to get over that shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Over that stuff. We really need to start to work together because we all want the same thing. We've got different ways of going to it, but that's okay. None of us are more right than any of the others, and we really need to start to work together. An assembly should be everyone that is freedom-minded in your particular area. Yes, TASA's in a different jurisdiction. That's okay. That just means that you've got people on the outside and people on the inside. That's great. That's the better way to run things anyway, is to have people on both sides of the wall trying to knock it down. So I'm just putting it out there. If you or your assembly or the bigger community of freedom-minded people are interested in something like that, let me know. Email seagull4451@outlook.com and we will get in touch with the people that knows the person. I don't know the person. To find out what we can do. Because I, for one, would love to have my car running on not fuel. I yield.
Okay, well, there you go. You heard that here first as well. And what Sarah said is true. If you want to send her an email and show some interest, we'd be happy, more than happy, to get a group of people together to go and learn about this not fuel.
Or if you're a person that knows how to do other stuff to help people become more resilient, to help people become more able to free themselves from the system, let us know. You don't have to be TASA. You can be whoever. It doesn't matter. We'll talk to anyone.
We'll talk to anybody, yeah.
Talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Two things I wanted to mention is that division in the freedom movements, I've seen it, and it's by design because unfortunately we've been conditioned a certain way, wired a certain way, through false history. That's the best way to put it. And the cognitive dissonance is too much, even when you can show that, it is false. Secondly, as for that free energy thing, I think it was back in 2012 when I was living in Melbourne, I'd collated a whole heap of stuff on free energy. I think one was solar, one was water, one was a Johnson motor or something. There were quite a few, but sadly, because it was so long ago, they're all dead links now. So the fact that we have someone on Terra Australis that can do that sort of thing, that's good because that's local. I yield.
Yeah, very good. We talked a bit about awake, asleep, how long we've been awake. We've all been awake a long time. Alan's still rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. He only woke up 5 years ago. But I read one of Anna's articles here a while back. She talked about authority, and I might we'll wind this call down shortly. We've been, pardon me, going for about an hour, but leave you with something to think about, I suppose. But Anna talked about authority, and we've all been taught from a very, very early age that authority comes from somewhere else. First of all, it was your teacher. It was your mum and dad. Then it was your teacher. It was the church. It was when you got to be a teenager, it was the police. And if you were really bucked against authority, then you heard it from the judge and the government. All that authority gets dished out to us and we forget we forget how powerful we are. And we have to relearn that our authority comes from within. And I think if more people just understood that, then more people would open their eyes and maybe kick back a little bit. But anyway, that's Anna's words of wisdom spoken by Wayno, and so you can take that thought away. Has anybody got anything else they'd like to add? Are we going to stick to roughly 1 hour? We've been roughly 1 hour on here now.
I wouldn't mind finishing with a very short 5-minute visualization meditation, if that's okay, just to sort of empower everyone. But it won't happen every week. It'll just be this one, unless anyone else has got something to say now.
No, I'm good with that.
Yeah. All I've got to say is I do have to go. I've got a bunch of people waiting for me to pick me up and take me somewhere.
Right.
So I will leave you to the meditation, but I back Wayne up. My parting message is you are the most highest authority in your own life and the most powerful being in your own life. Don't forget it. See you later.
Good
Thanks,
on you, Sue.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Sue. Bye. Have a good
your
week.
thoughts, your energy, your presence. Thanks. And we're back to 4.
Okay. So has anyone else got any parting words?
No, the parting words are all yours.
All mine? Great. Okay, firstly, thanks, guys. I think this has been good. I hope that it keeps going. I really, really want it to. I hope that people hear it and listen and email in with your ideas and your thoughts and everything else. This is done for you and for us and for all of us to help each other. So really take part in it. As I said, we want to go live, in the next week or two. So we'll have far more people sort of in the audience, and we'll be, talking directly to those people and stuff like that. I don't think there's any real questions off limits. This is not necessarily just TASA, it's for everyone. So, with that, I'm just going to take us through this very quick visualization. TASA people will understand completely what I'm talking about. Others might have a bit of a gist, but never mind, you'll get the idea anyway. So I want everyone to just see the world or the planet that we live on, and just see yourself sitting on that planet, and you are a little golden spark, and the planet is under this plastic, horrible, gunky stuff, okay? And it's looking really tired and dusty and shriveled up. And above, feeding into that plastic, there's a funnel from above. And there's this murky, grey, brown, horrible looking stuff that drips in a little bit every now and then into that sort of plastic cover, just to keep the earth kind of just ticking over. Next to that, there is another massive, massive, massive container full of this beautiful, vibrant, golden, silver, effervescent, sparkling, iridescent energy. And that also has a tube coming down from it leading into that other funnel. And there's a tiny little valve that's blocking that energy from coming in. And I want everyone to just think, if all of the little gold sparks around the planet just all send out pulses of energy to that little valve to get it out of the way, to release the blockage, and you see it and you hit that valve, and all of us hit it at the same time. On a count of 3, 3, 2, 1, hit. And that valve releases, and that golden energy starts flowing down through that funnel, and it drips in. And as it comes down into that, under that plasticky kind of cover, it funnels out in little rivulets and little creeks and streams right around to all of the golden sparks around the planet. And you can see as it reaches each one of those golden sparks, you can see the plasticky stuff start to dissolve and peel away. And the earth becomes renewed around those golden pools of light. Now I want to take you to be one of those little golden sparks, receiving that golden energy. I want you to feel how good it feels to receive that power, to receive that energy of freedom and abundance and just power and all of the good that you can do. And I want you to feel that ripple through you and ripple out of you. It overflows you. It overflows your energy field. It spreads out right around you. And you can see all of the things around you reviving, all of the plants take on an extra glow. Things start to become bright and happy. That plastic peels back. And I want you just to feel the power that comes from your heart space as you explode out that golden light to the planet around you in your area. And you can start to see how all of those golden pools of light join up with each other and how the planet becomes the best it can possibly be, occupied with us being the best that we can be from our heart space to everyone else's. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next week.
Certainly will. We certainly will. And thank you guys for coming on and making this what it's been today. It's been quite enjoyable. So let's see if we can get you back next week or the week after or the week after that. But you're welcome back, that's for sure. All right. I'm going to
Been good fun. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.